name cleared more than 30 years later. On August 2nd, 1989, 36-year-old August Gus VanAsselberg was shot in the head in his bed in Elmer. His 11-year-old son ended up taking the fall for it. But as that boy grew up and began questioning what exactly happened that night, a story would unravel that's now led to an official public clearing of the boy's name by law enforcement.
He was so ashamed of everybody thinking he killed his daddy.
33 years after 11-year-old Cody VanAsselberg was accused of shooting and killing his father, a new start thanks to an official public clearing by the Rapides Parish Sheriff's Office.
This is one of those situations where without a doubt we can say he had nothing to do with it.
He had nothing to do with it.
That revelation on the heels of a dark family secret. It's hard for Cody to go back to the early morning of August 2nd, 1989, the day his father, August Gus VanAsselberg, was shot and killed.
It was just horrible.
According to the Rapides Parish Sheriff's Office, who investigated the case, the call came in around 7 a.m. about the family's patriarch dead in his bed in the family's trailer on VanAsselberg Road. The weapon was a .38 pistol that belonged to Cody's mother, Valerie. According to reports, as Valerie told deputies, Cody had fallen asleep in the living room that night. Sometime around 2 a.m., she placed him in the couple's bed, and she fell asleep in the living room.
The gun was still in the bed with the father. She cuts the light off, and then the next morning about 6 o'clock, she turns the light on with a cup of coffee, drops it, screams, said, "Oh my God, you've killed your daddy."
Valerie told detectives in those early reports that before she made the gruesome discovery, she asked Cody to put the gun back in the drawer.
I just remember waking up to my mom screaming why I did it, why did you do it, why did you do it? I just remember bawling, saying I don't know what you're talking about.
Cody ended up in the Renaissance Home for Youth for nearly a year, but he said he never knew the exact reason why. Since it was a juvenile case, it wrapped up quickly and quietly, and the records from that time don't really exist anymore. As the sheriff's office told us, there wasn't enough evidence to prosecute. As Cody got older, he and his sister, who was also in the trailer that night, often questioned their mother about what exactly happened to their father.
She always shut down. We couldn't get anything out of her.
Last year, now married and living out of state, Cody and his wife made a call to the Rapides Parish Sheriff's Office to get those answers.
He has always wanted to know. We had a support network in place for him, so when we did find out, there was enough people to help him through it.
Yeah, exactly.
That call led them to Major Mark Baden, a cold case detective for the parish. And what Baden read in the old reports bothered him, and he wanted to take a new look at the case. So he did some new interviews with people who knew the family, and then he and another detective went to pay a visit to Cody's mom.
I don't want to sound stupid or goofy, but it's like a big blur, and that's 30-something years ago. I don't remember much that took place that day, or my mind won't go there.
There were some tough questions in the nearly 2-hour-long initial interview.
Did you shoot Mr. August?
No, sir. Why would I do that?
Well, that's a question we have to ask.
Baden also brought up some new information, $20,000 that had gone missing from Gus VanAsselberg's business account around the time he was shot.
Do you remember anything about $20,000 missing?
No, sir. No, sir.
Baden wasn't buying it.
I let her know that, she was lying to me, that I would be back, and she needed to seek the truth.
But before Baden even made it back to the office, one of Valerie's daughters, who was present for that interview, called him.
She was very upset, said her mom confessed.
Baden returned the next day and got this written confession and one on tape. Valerie told him that she was an abused wife looking for a way out, and that involved taking $20,000 and a plan to leave.
I laid there, got scared to sleep. Half the time I didn't. And when I got up, it's like I was in automatic mode. I got up, walked to my desk, took out my gun, went back to bed, and I don't know if I was gonna do it to myself or to him at that point.
And what happened next?
I shot him.
I can't understand you, ma'am.
I shot him.
Valerie said she didn't remember telling Cody to put the gun in the drawer and claimed she didn't realize she pointed detectives at the time toward her son.
What?
Yes, ma'am. And all the statements, everything we have, you kind of pushed them towards Cody. And we need to get that right so we can give him some closure.
The revelation rocked Cody to the core. He told us he was just as shocked about the claims of abuse that she made about his father and said he never witnessed it.
Just the fact that I had to hear it from someone else. But I felt relieved. Finally, someone's knowing the truth.
Baden wrapped up the case that summer and sent it to the district attorney's office with the intent to seek a second-degree murder indictment from a grand jury. But before it could get to that point, Valerie died in October from health complications. Cody said he never got an apology from his mother, and he's come to terms with that. But now, with a public clearing of his name, he can finally move on.
You could at least breathe and not have that cloud hanging over you for that long.